Good morning, everybody. Together. And yes, I'm in the car. Don't judge me. But I got something on my mind and my heart that I wanted to share with y'all this morning. And it is about update. The garden's fine, but the garden is about over. Just FYI. But I'll come back on and show y'all that another day. But right now, I wanted to talk serious. So I was just talking to a friend of mine about protecting your peace. And I feel like it's a message worth sharing because it took me a long time to really learn it. So I just had to have a conversation with somebody very close to me about setting boundaries. It's important, y'all. We love people. You can love somebody all day long, but it's important to set boundaries. We always talk about setting boundaries with people that, hurt us or things like that. But we also have to set boundaries with the people that we love the most, because they will drain you the most. And you have to protect yourself first. It's just like, it's cliche, but we always talk about when you get on the airplane and you put your mask on first, and then you put the mask on of the people that are around you. It's the same thing in your life. It's true. So just setting boundaries, and you don't have to be rude. You don't have to be mean. You simply say, look, I love you, and this is what I need in order to be able to support you. If you can't respect my boundary, then I'm not going to be able to support you in the way that you need me to support you. But I love you. I just can't support you in this way. And I think that that's a conversation that needs to be had, rather than the conversation of, I'm just going to have to cut you off and not deal with you. That's not always realistic. Sometimes as adults, we really got to learn how to have difficult conversations with people. And I feel like we often lose that in our day and time because of social media. Everybody's so overly opinionated, but everybody at the same time is also very overly sensitive. And as adults, you got to learn how to articulate what you need from people. You can't just cut people off, and you can't just go to a bunch of strangers for advice either. Neither are healthy. But you have to learn how to articulate what you need from people in a way that's not mean or rude or hurtful. You can have people learn how to respect you and respect your boundaries, and articulate that in a manner that they have to respect and they may not like, but at the end of the day, they have to respect it and abide by it. And you didn't do it in a manner that's hurtful or rude, and y'all can still maintain some sort of a relationship. The relationship just may not look the way it looked before, and that's okay, because you can't take everybody with you on your journey, whatever journey that is in your life. Some friends are meant for a particular season. Some family members you can't keep close during a particular season. You have to pull back, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the important thing is just setting a boundary with people and articulating that boundary in a way that's loving, because maybe it's something that they don't necessarily realize that they've done or that they do. So just instill love in them. You may have to love them from up close. You may have to love them from afar, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, as adults, we need to learn how to articulate what we need in a manner that's not rude. So many people are so quick to go to social media with their problems and using all these unlicensed social media therapists to voice an opinion, and you could be dead wrong, but if you find one person that validates your jacked up opinion, all of a sudden it's law. That's not the way it works. We need to get back to learning how to have relationships with people that are real, which primarily banks on communication. You got to know how to communicate with folks, and you got to know how to set boundaries, and you got to do work to be self-aware in order to learn what those boundaries are and keep them. So, I mean, that's all I wanted to say, y'all. It was just on my heart and on my mind, and I had a real good conversation with a friend of mine about it. And it's a lesson that I've been having to learn. People, yeah, Derek, you're right. People don't listen, but at the same time, it's not about them listening. It's about you articulating your boundary. If you articulate your boundary and you've told them in a way that's loving and respectful, it's up to you to execute that. You can show people way better than you can tell them. And you execute that. If they still choose not to abide by that, you tell them, look, I'm not going to be able to have you close to me. I love you, but I'm just going to have to love you from over here. And they have no choice but to respect that. So first you articulate your boundary. You give them an opportunity to adjust, because I feel like people that love you, for the most part, they don't want to hurt you. They may not realize it's something that they're doing. Give them an opportunity to meet you where you need to be met. That's by telling them. And if they still choose not to meet you where you need to be met, then you well within your rights to let them go. That's just the way it is. It ain't about them listening. If they choose not to listen, that means they don't care. And if they don't care, do you really want them close to you anyway? No. They're not for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. We don't have to be angry at people for not being for us. We ain't for some people. I know I'm an acquired taste. I like that because it weeds people out that aren't for me. And I don't mind that, because I'm very secure in who I am and who God created me to be. I'm for the people that are in my circle. And if I'm not for you, you ain't for me. And I don't take that personal. I love everybody, but sometimes I gotta love you from over there. Or you gotta love me from over there, because maybe I'm not for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. You gotta stop taking everything so personal. Everybody ain't for us. God places people in our path that are for your particular journey. Some people are supposed to be spectators. Some people are supposed to be participants. That's just the way, that's life. Everybody ain't supposed to be a full participant. Some people just supposed to sit back and watch. And you can sit back and watch from the stands. You can be row section 200, row 100 from the stands, watching me get my blessings. Just like I might have to be that for somebody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. Another thing that's been on my heart too is this idea that people are toxic. Y'all gotta understand, we ain't perfect. Sometimes people are toxic for us, but you can be toxic for somebody else. I'm never gonna sit up here and act like, hey, I know I have some toxic traits that's not for somebody else, just like somebody might have a toxic trait that's not for me. We gotta stop always playing victim in the situation. You're not a victim. You're not. Hi, cousin. I don't really know you like that, Samuel. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know you like that to know. Hey, Wawa. I'm just venting, cousin. That's all. I got some stuff on my mind. Just talking about relationships and people being toxic and people always wanting to play victim all the time. I was just saying that people have to understand that just like somebody's toxic for you, you might be toxic for somebody else. And you have to be self-aware and recognize your toxic traits, because you're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. I know I've been toxic to some people. I've had to ask for forgiveness for that. And at the same token, I've also had to step aside because that person's toxic for me as well. Two toxic people can't be together in no type of relationship. Family relationship, romantic relationship, friendship. I mean, we all just need to not be victim, not play victim, and set boundaries for people. Hey, Jermaine. Well, yeah, y'all, feel free to chime in on the conversation. I'm in my feelings a little bit today. been watching a lot of MJ Harris and Trent Shelton this morning. But yeah, otherwise, y'all, I said just learn to be more self-aware. Yes, cousin, boundaries. I've had to learn. It took me a long time to learn boundaries. A, because I'm an empath, and B, because I'm a people pleaser. And I think a lot of empaths are people pleasers, and they're not the same. But it's mostly because as an empath, and if you don't know, an empath is somebody that can feel what other people are feeling. I think that's the reason why God drew me to healthcare. I worked in healthcare for a long time. And I mean, I still work in healthcare, but not in patient care anymore. But one thing about being in patient care as an empath, I can feel what other people feel. So if somebody around me is sad, and they don't even have to tell me that they're sad, I instantly can feel their energy as being sad. If I'm in a room with a bunch of happy people, I instantly take on that happiness. I feel what other people are feeling. And at the same token, as an empath, we also have the ability to control the energy in the room. So I know I can walk into a room, and if I have an attitude, my attitude controls the entire room. Everybody else in the room is gonna see my attitude and take that attitude on, especially at home with my kids. So I really have to be careful. But I was saying about boundaries. So as an empath, you automatically tend to take on other people's stuff. I did that for a long time, and I still struggle with it. Like I take on everybody else's everything. If you have a problem, I feel it. I'm a sympathetic crier. If somebody around me is crying, Brittany gonna cry too. It's just the way it is. But I've had to learn to be like, look, I have to separate your feelings from my feelings. I had to learn how to do that, because for a long time I couldn't tell what was actually what I was feeling versus what the people around me were feeling. And just recently, like this year, I've done soul searching and was like, look, the reason why I feel so drained all the time is because I take on everybody else's crap all the time. So I had to learn, like, look, this is what I need from my relationships. And I have to learn how to articulate that, because it's not fair for me to make people try to figure it out either. Nobody should ever have to figure out what I'm feeling. I got to figure out what I'm feeling so that I can tell the people closest to me, okay, this is what I'm feeling. And I've had people get upset with me because I'm like, look, I'm not going to be able to communicate with you like that. As long as you're talking to me like this, I'm not going to be able to communicate with you. I'm going to have to step back from this conversation and come back to it later when I'm in a space to where I can communicate with you. And that's exactly how I say it. And people don't like it, but you know what? That's me protecting my peace, because I'm not about to let you pull me down. I don't have problems or issues. I don't feel like I should have to take on your problems or issues. If I look at my life and I'm like, I got this, I'm completely happy. And the only issue that I'm having right now, the only reason I'm feeling like this is because of your problems. We're going to have to step back, and because I don't like where this conversation is going, and I'm just going to step back, and when I can communicate with you and when you can communicate with me in a manner that I can tolerate and that I like, then we can revisit this conversation. Derek, I'm an Aries. I'm actually a cusp. I'm an Aries and a Pisces. But yeah, I'm an Aries sun, I'm a Virgo moon, and I'm a Gemini rising. So basically I'm a hot mess. Yes, cousin, it definitely takes some soul searching to do. It definitely takes some soul searching to learn how to set those boundaries. I think that's a good thing. You know what I do, Nikki? Every single year I get a hotel room by myself for a weekend, and I disconnect from the world for a weekend. Cut my phone off. I got people that I can trust with my kids. I cut my phone off. I use that time. I pray, I write, I paint, I read, I sleep, I watch TV, I disconnect, I pray, and then I can come back and I can deal with the world. But I need that time as an introvert, and as an empath, we definitely need that recharge time because we're so busy taking on everybody else's energy all the time. You need that time to regroup. But it definitely takes some work to get there, for real. It took me a long time. I had to learn, like, for so long, it's like, you know, people say pray about it. Prayer is only this much of it. It's not selfish to learn how to be self-aware. You have to learn yourself in order to be able to hear God's voice. If you don't take that time out to know you and to listen, you'll never be able to know what God sounds like for you, because he comes to us in different ways, the way that is personal to you. And I might get some backlash from religious folks, but it's definitely true. It's even in the Bible. He didn't come to the people that he came to. He didn't come to Moses the same way he revealed himself to Abraham. He didn't reveal himself to Paul the same way he revealed himself to Hannah. Like, every single time God came to somebody in the Bible that he had a mission for, he revealed himself in a way that was personal to them. Jonah's journey wasn't Peter's journey. And you could see it. His voice and the way he manifests in our life is personal. And like I said, that goes back to being self-aware. You have to know how he sounds for you. Like, for example, I know when I pray, God comes to me in my dreams. He comes to me in my dreams. Every time I've had an answer to a prayer, it's been clear in a dream. And God's voice doesn't sound like, you know, some man talking to me. His voice to me sounds like my own voice. But I know that it's not my voice because it's something that I would never say or think of on my own. But you have to be quiet and take that time to be able to know what that looks like and sounds like for you. I said, I've been trying to soul search. I've been on a soul searching journey, just trying to learn about, you know, how people think and how I think and what I want out of my life. We got to have that time. You got to have that time. But yeah, y'all. So what y'all up to?